Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is a first in a while. I haven't done this in so long. I haven't done a VR in so long. I haven't done any like video recordings in so long. I've done a few. Yeah, mostly I'm talking down and looking at stuff, but this is a video response to where you kind of need to show your face. And this is the hashtag Let's Be Tarot Friends VR. I first saw this VR by, I believe, Aquamarine 18, and she got it from, let me see, I have it right here, from Tarot is Magic, and I've watched also Nine Coins VR to this as well. And so watching those, I was like, you know what? I'm back on here. This is the perfect tag for this. Some of the questions are kind of repetitive of other VRs that I've seen in the past, but I'm like, you know what? It's been a year. It's been a few years, I believe, since I've done something like this. I don't know. I'd have to go back to the archives in my videos. But yeah, so I will be shuffling cards because that's just how I do. That's just how I do. Enjoy the sounds of me shuffling. And yeah, and I'll go through these questions. Uh, so yeah, the let's see what else. Any other? Oh right. Also, I got something in my ear. Not in my ear. It's like weirdly plugged. I think allergies are messing with my sinuses. So if I'm go like this, if I do any weird jaw movements, it's because of that. So yeah, let's start off. Let's start off with the first question. What type of art are you looking for in a deck? And this kind of goes in tangent with the second question. What do you search for in a deck? But for the most part, in terms of the images and the drawings in it, I try to find something unique, different, and that is cohesive throughout the whole deck. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm not like opposed. That it doesn't mean that I'm opposed uh, to collaborative decks like the Ostara Tarot. I just recently, a few months back, I'm not sure how long ago, back, I got the Threads of Fate. Is that what they called it? By some collaborative deck with like a lot of cards in it. I have it. I haven't used it, but I like it. I like the images on there. So very intricate and very like. Mm. But there are a few cards in there that are like, which we'll touch on that in another question. So yeah. But what I look for, the art that I look for, it's something that is new, beautifully aesthetically beautiful, and comfortably diverse, if that makes sense. Diverse in its that it's not pandering, it's not trying too hard, it's not trying to check all the boxes, and does inclusivity and diversity like in a well thought out manner, and is well aware that the images that are going to be depicted here are going to be used in divination and in readings, because I think a lot of artists kind of forget that, and when they depict different ethnicities and different sexualities and different cards, it's like they don't really take into consideration what that these cards are going to be used in readings, and they're going to be shuffled, and their cards are going to show up together, and it's like, what are you trying to say? That's just one aspect, though. I usually go for like the Marielle. That's like the you know bombastic, archetypal, like never before seen, rarely mimicked and copied. I'm opposed to I'm opposed to the softer, fluffier, new agey type decks. I just can't. I don't vibe with it. It just seems very, I don't know. It's like it's definitely marketing itself to a certain demographic or people that like a certain aesthetic, and I don't know. Like the softest that I can think of is this deck here, the Mariloon, and this is as soft as I go, and this is what I think should be. as and it's a good solid deck for just average right away smith. And that's the thing. It's like I'm not so like looking for I'm not always looking for this all the time to the point to where it's like if it's not this, I'm not gonna reach for it or have no interest in it. Because I mean, one example of this is this deck right here, the Fyodor Pavlov, which is extremely right away smith. Like it's right away smith, like through and through. Like there's no like you're not gonna look at this and be like, is it Rider Waite Smith? Though? It's Rider Waite Smith, you know. And yet, when I had it in hand, I literally like I was going through another like slump of not wanting to do readings, and I got this deck, and I was like, I want to do readings with this deck. I need to use this for readings for some reason. Like I got it, and I was like, it needs to be used. It needs to be shown. And that's again, that's what I also search for a deck in a deck. I want to reach for it. I want to shuffle it. I want to use it, and it's and sometimes I usually get decks that I'm like, okay, I can study this a bit. I want to study what this deck is talking about and what system it has made for itself and how I can apply it to my tarot practice in general and see if I can incorporate anything and make my own unique approach to tarot, build on top of that, much like, again, like Tarot of the Holy Light. Like I just recently finally finished reading through the guidebook and getting a sort of a good grasp on how to read this deck, but I'm still not fully 100% there to like pull it out and read with it just like whatever. Um yeah, but still like and also production wise, quality wise, just a cardstock that I'm not afraid of shuffling and that I think is going to last as long as as much as I paid for it. If it's falling apart, like why am I gonna buy that? you know. And so like yeah, like it doesn't have to be like like this the majestic earth here with gold edges, so many cards, and the best cardstock. Like it can just be like a U.S. Games or even like here, the Mariloon, back again, coming back to this one. This is from Make Playing Cards, and this is a pretty, I don't know what the cardstock is on this, but it's pretty good. It's a solid deck, and I'm not afraid to shuffle it and use it, and yeah, but it's not like linen finish with black core 400 GSM. It's not like the True Black or anything like that. The True Black Tarot, I think, kind of went overboard. So yeah, that's what I look for in decks. I believe that covered everything. Yeah, collage. I feel like right now collage art is the fad, and I think it's kind of overstayed its welcome. I'm kind of getting a little tired of seeing collage decks. The only one I do like is the only collage art that I do like is Claire Max. I believe that's her name. She did the Illuminated Earth Tarot, the Faceted Garden Oracle. No, the Illuminated Earth Oracle, Faceted Garden Oracle, and the Rain Shadow Tarot. I'm like, love those. And the Rain Shadow is definitely her most collagey of the three decks that she made, and the other two are much more like you can't really tell. Like Illuminated Earth, I really couldn't tell if it was collage or not. I thought it was honestly like Photoshop, honestly, and she probably does do a bit of Photoshop maybe in her images just to touch them up a bit. But again, I don't know. I don't know her life. But anyways, also AI. I only have one AI art deck. Never again. I can't do it. I'm not gonna. No, 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 no. No. I thought it was something, and it's not. I believe I will be moving this one along or donating it yeah. And yeah, I think AI is yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I think I like to see a little bit of effort put into decks. And people say, oh well, there's a lot of work that goes into. I don't care. Typing in a few words and pressing, and typing in a few words and hitting enter as many times as you can until you get the right image is not creativity. It's ordering fast food and getting mad that they put onions in your burger, and so asking them to remake it and without the onions in your burger. And when they do, you're like, finally, I made a burger. It's like, no, you didn't. Like a computer did. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a bad analogy. And I don't want to like, you know, undermine any of the ideas that people make with AI art, but it's any of the ideas that they express through AI art. And no, I need to stop calling it art because it's really not art. And that's for another discussion. That's for something else. So yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. Question 3. What deck are you most intrigued by now, and why? Right now, nothing. I think Terror of the Holy Light was the only one, and I think I kind of got drained by that a bit. And so right now, there's really nothing that's like piquing my interest in terms of like, ooh, I want to see more of this. I'm more so in line with actually now, you know, making the rubber hit the road. If is that the right term? Is that the terminology? Is that the phrase? Oh, and you know, and actually putting in the work and applying what I know and using what I know and doing readings and all that. Who was it? There's a channel that's doing uh, oh gosh, I just saw it. I believe, I don't know, but essentially I was like watching this channel. I was like, oh, I want to do that. I wanted to do that. I was thinking of doing that, and you're doing it. I'll still do it. I might do it, incorporate it in my live readings, and do what I can. And yeah, I can't remember what it was called. It was essentially like, watch me do this practice spread. Let me practice and use this spread that I have from this. Oh gosh. If anything, let me find it. Okay, I found it. I was like, I didn't think I'd even like bring this up, but it's from Green Eyed Tarot, Spread It Out Sunday. Um, I'm not subscribed to them. I haven't seen much of their content, and they're using the Witch Sister Tarot, which is I want that deck. I want that deck. That's one that I'm intrigued by. But again, not so much like when I think of intrigued by, I think of I want to study it. I want to deep dive it. I don't think there's really anything out there that's doing that. Maybe Terror of the Golden Serpent? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Number 4. Is there a card in a deck you always check out first and why? No. And to bundle it together with question number 5, if there is one card in a deck you don't like, would you not buy it / pass it along? This is kind of like, again, this is like one question, just like in like 2 different tangents. For the most part, like I said, I like cohesion and consistency. And if a majority of the deck is flowing well together and is well interconnected and well made, I don't feel the need to get rid of it. However, there are those times where that one card that sticks out like a sore thumb does mess with the flow of the whole deck. And it's not necessarily that I don't like the card or I hate the image or something like that. It's just that like I'm like looking at the image and I'm like, this doesn't really match well. This doesn't flow with the rest of the deck. Like, why is this here? I feel like this belongs to a different deck. And so you come across this a lot with, again, collaborative decks like the Cosmos Tarot and the Ostara Tarot. But Ostara, it's only like 4 artists that work together on that. So, but still, the main goal is a cohesive idea following through the entire deck. And so it doesn't matter how different the image looks, as long as it fits within the theme of that deck. It should work out. But still, there's always that one card. I'm thinking of the 4 of Swords in the Threads of Fate tarot, and that one looks very plain compared to the rest of the deck, where there's like these intricate details throughout the whole deck. And then this one is very like, the 4 of Swords is very like, I think more could have been done. So yeah, but yeah, I never like intentionally like flip through the cards or like fast forward through flip throughs to see a specific card and be like, is how does this card? No. If I like to be pleasantly surprised by cards I tend to overlook, and are like depicted very like well depicted and well drawn in a deck. Then I'm like, oh, look at that. I'm like, it's like I rarely see, and it's just like the whole overall uh vibe of the image is just well expressed, and I'm like, okay, there we go, I get that now. um and yeah, usually if a card, rarely ever I feel like a card pops up enough that I'm like, oh, I hate looking at this card, then I'll get it. Usually at that point I think I ignore it, but again, it doesn't have to be a specific card. uh so yeah, but again, if the whole deck is thrown off by a card, and also Aquamarine 18, she pointed out a very good she made a very good point here um of anything that's like, what is it, like overtly like discriminatory or problematic, in its depiction. Rarely I come across those, but they do happen. And that obviously is like a huge turnoff, and I'm not gonna buy something like that. I found one deck that I was like, huh, all the women are depicted weirdly, not like, which, not like all are erotic. There's some great decks that show beautiful erotic bodies and all that, and the women are beautiful in that. But there's some that like they're like depicted in like the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands as like, I'm like, oh, why are they like always victims or being attacked or something? Like, what's going on here? That's very weird. It's troubling. And it's a cool looking deck, and I'm like, I'm just like, the side eye, very intense side eye. Um, so yeah, it's things like that. Things like that. Let's see. Moving on. Number 6. What is your least favorite card in tarot, and why? I don't pick favorites. This is these three now. I didn't even notice that. I should have gone over it and been like, yeah. With the previous two, this one kind of ties up with that. Favorite card, I try not to, because again, the deck as a whole is great, and it varies from deck to deck. Um, I and you know what, to continue on to the last two tangents, a few cards that I do like to check out are any that are astrologically aligned with what my astrology with my sun, moon, and rising. And I look at the majors and the core cards and the minor arcana that are in there to see just how they depict those, and especially any cards that are like difficult to depict for some people. Like again, and this is going to show up later on, the Three of Swords. I like to see how people approach that, and see how they tackle that challenge, or the Five of Cups or Tower. Any negative cards, I'm like, how are you going to move around this? How are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with that? And so, yeah, yeah, but what is your least favorite card? It's yeah, least favorite. I think I could pick a least favorite. Least favorite is probably the Three of Wands, or the Two of Wands, or the Three of Wands. Just funny because those are like, that's my Sun and Mars, uh, like the Decan sign rulership and all that, and those are essentially cards that are supposed to line up with mine. And in the Rider-Waite-Smith, they just look so similar that I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like how similar they look. I'm like, it's the same but different. I'm like, show me something else. Pixie, you could have done something. You could have done better. You could have done better, Pixie. You know, you should have used that intuition a little more. Yeah, yeah. Um, what's another one? I think any cards that still like randomly stump me, like the Wheel of Fortune, will still like, I'll be like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Why is this? Because I think I don't like the Wheel of Fortune because it just seems like just you're at the whims you're at the whims of fate itself, and you can't really do much about that. I'm like, there's got to be something we can do. There's got to be some advice we can do, other than just go with the flow. I'm like, there's like a lack of agency to the card for some reason. I don't know. Okay, so next question. What do people close to you feel about tarot and you doing tarot? For the most part, any like friends that I've had are also into tarot. Most of my friends that I made in the past, in since I've made since coming onto YouTube and coming onto TarotTube and all that, and most of them I've made through that. So friends wise, yeah. When I'm meeting new people, I tend to not try and hide it, because I think it's just like, it's what I do. It's one of my hobbies. I don't care much about it. I think it's funny, like looking back to like a while back, I was doing a live stream, and it was like it's not a sexy thing. I think, at least for for gay men, it's not a very like erotic or sexy thing to do, like and so like for dates and hookups, it's not like something that I'll be open about it, but I'm not like trying to allure guys by being like, yeah, I'm a tarot reader, isn't that cool? Like, I'm not, no. But I do tell them, like, this is what I do, I'm into this, and I like to do this and all that. um and so, yeah, family wise, everybody knows, and pretty much are like cool with it. I haven't had any like antagonistic like experiences from people in my family. Obviously, like growing up in a religious household, there's been some discomfort, but they've come to like acknowledge that it's something that I like to do, and it's something that it's a good outlet for me, I think, is one thing. And so I think people are uh okay with it for the most part. I'm very lucky and grateful that, my parents know and understand. My father's a little still very, very, very superstitious of uh of what I do with tarot and all that, and I'm like, be calm, I just like to be like, just chill out. Um so yeah. Yeah, and that's yeah, that's yeah, that's the extent of it. Extended family, I have yet to really do. Yeah, they know, but like not really much of interaction between them. My sister actually has started doing tarot for herself, working with tarot by herself. I'm not sure how she's keeping up with it, but yeah. Yeah, I'll check in on her and see how she's doing with that. Let's see. So next one, question number 8. How do you feel about the esoteric stuff in tarot? I love it. I love it. I think tarot in general, its practice is esoteric, because to me, the esoteric is anything that's like a layer deeper, you know. And so we can look at these images in the Rider-Waite-Smith and just read them on the surface, as to like, oh, to not read esoterically would be like, there's a sunset or a sunrise, and there's a skeleton riding a horse with a priest, with a pope, and a woman and a child, and there's a dead old guy under the horse, and that's it, and that's your reading. That would be the extent, rather than a change is coming, something's died away, and new space, and then space for something new is being made, and change and transformation, whatever, that's the esoteric of this to me. That's to me, but to go more into the correspondences and the different occult correspondences, yeah, I think it's all highly based on that, from the numerology and the Kabbalah that's tied into the numerology. It's that right there, plain and simple. You can't separate that from tarot to me. And that's just from what I learned with using the Marielle. It's a very numerically based deck. It's a very numerically based focus deck. And so this deck is very like, I want to put my own esoteric correspondences on this, and that's going to be very tricky to do because of just how the images are. But I'm like, because the images were never worked with in keeping in mind, you know, astrological and Kabbalistic images. Well, Kabbalistic, yes. Astrological, maybe not as like intensely as, you know, as say like the Thoth, you know, where you see there's that damn Wheel of Fortune, you know, where, and of course I don't show any minor arcana that have like, you know, with the sun and the moon and Sagittarius and the moon, I believe, with this, you know. So I do like astrologically, I do like applying that. I'm still learning astrology outside from tarot because I don't think you should learn astrology through tarot. So it's a lot of like learning astrology, reapplying it to the tarot and changing how you view the tarot. Especially like right now, I'm doing the Decan Walk video coming soon on that, and the decans are really like, that's like the bread and butter I feel for occult stuff. And I think honestly learning the decans and studying the decans will really help you learn astrology even more than just straight up trying to study the 12 signs and the 7 to 10 planets, you know, and all that. And so, yeah, the only thing I'm still working on is the houses and how to apply that to the tarot. That's a little different. Julie Kucha Watts, I believe, right? Julie Kucha Watts. Yeah. Creator of the Journey into Egypt Tarot and the Real Sky Astrology Tarot and the Ma'at Tarot. She incorporates the houses into her Real Sky Astrology, I believe, and that's I like what she's doing there, but it's like it's a little ahead of where I'm at with astrology, but I'll learn the houses eventually. That's again, the houses are something that I struggle with. But anyways, to apply any other art, occult, esoteric art to the tarot, that's kind of like the point, I feel, of like what the Golden Dawn with the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Thoth, that's what they were kind of all trying to do in a way with tarot, because the tarot was like a good index cards to study and work with to work the esoteric path that they were trying to do, you know, for their spiritual enlightenment, you know, and their way of self-development, I believe. It's my opinion. So yeah, so I like it. I like it. I think you can't really separate it, except for the Rider-Waite-Smith. I think with the Rider-Waite-Smith, it has now become something that you can just read the images, but a lot of people ignore where the inspirations and the, you know, things that inspired Pixie to make those cards and what Waite was trying to do with depicting the cards as he did. And so, yeah, some of the images are just so separate, or not separate, so entangled with like astrological correspondences and Kabbalistic symbols in there that like you can't not look at it and be like, oh, wait, why is that? Oh, it's because of the, you know, and gain a deeper understanding of the cards. And yeah, and more, and put simply, it's because of the law of correspondences. You know, that's how I've come to view it. You know, as above, so below, as within, so without. I don't know, I can't remember, but yeah, things like that. And as below, so above, and vice versa, and vice versa. You know, so yeah. Yeah. Question number 9 asks: Rider-Waite-Smith, Thoth, or Marseille, and why? I would have to say, to me, Rider-Waite-Smith and Thoth are really not that different. If you really get into the nitty gritty of it, there's only like a few solid differences. And again, this is going off of correspondences, and so to me, I would have to say neither and go the Marielle, you know, which is more in line with the Marseille, but you get pictures with it, you know, and of course I'm showing all majors. You get actual depictions of things going on, and there's something to look at rather than just the three items, or the two items, or the number of the items of the suit to go off of. You know, which again, but again, that's playing with number and the element, you know, that it is associated to, and that's the extent, and that's what I based off of. That's what I started learning off of. But for the most part, I would probably do that, and I'm probably more in line, more interested, more intrigued with Tarot of the Holy Light. There's something about that correspondence system that just like, it flows right. It just makes a little bit more sense than Golden Dawn. But for the most part, for working and doing readings, my go-to is the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's comfortable. It's what I know, and yeah, it's a comfortable read. You know, and I can get the readings that I want to do without having to like do much, you know, background brain wiring, frying out and trying to spit out a meaning, you know, as efficiently and coherent as possible, like with the Tarot of the Holy Light, or sometimes at times the Mariel, which is why I'm like, okay, Mariel is one I gotta take my time with and work with it, and I can read with it pretty well for others, but it's like a time and place. There's a time and place, but for the most part, I'd say the Rider-Waite-Smith or Golden Dawn-esque tarots, because yeah, nothing wrong with the Thoth. I love the Thoth, and again, I consider Thoth and the Rider-Waite-Smith kind of like, you know, kind of like adopted brothers or something. So yeah, let's see, or step brothers or something. You know, they're in the same family, and people like to think that they're very different. They're really not. Okay, so number 10. What are your thoughts on cardstock? I think I kind of mentioned this before with, you know, what do you search for in a deck? You know, and the production quality of it. As long as it can withstand shuffling, we're good. You know, and I mean riffle shuffling. Okay, if your deck can't even handle an overhand shuffle, what are you doing? Why'd you make that? Why don't you just print it out on you know, on office paper, on line paper? You know, next time just draw it on this and send it to us. Thank you. You know, and as much as I love the linen card stock, like from Expert Playing Card Company, the people that made the factory, the company that produced the Fyodor Pavlov indie edition. I don't know if they also did the mass market that US Games released of this. I'm not sure, but they do the Usi decks. I'm getting a craving for pad thai right now. I could go for some pad thai right now. Anyways, uh, the Usi decks, the and the, oh gosh, who else? The people that made the Carnival at the End of the World, same company, great cardstock. That's pretty go-to, very glidey, easy to shuffle. It feels good. It's, yeah. But again, there's nothing wrong with, I'm going to repeat myself here. There's nothing wrong with the Make Playing Cards smooth finish, you know, cardstock, and it's holding up pretty well. I don't know how long I've had this deck. I don't use it much, but it hasn't shuffled, but I haven't, and so I haven't really shuffled it a lot. But I mean, again, as long as the images aren't fading off and all that, and that's more printing rather than the cardstock itself. As long as there's not many creasings or cards getting bent, you're gonna be pretty good. Another thing is like gilded edges. This is a little more of a tangent here. Shout out to I don't know who the hell made the Victorian Romantic one. I don't know what printing company did it. Like Baba Studios. Please, like, share the details. Even though like there are like, this company's the one that caused our decks to be leaked and pirated. But I mean, who did who did the gilding on this? Because this is from 2012. I've had this since 2016, maybe around there, maybe 2017. And there is like, this is still, there's still gold gilding. This is, look at this. Look at that. I mean, look at the production. Look at the quality. Still to this day. To this day. You can see some wear, obviously, but I mean, compared to, well, I love this deck too. No tea, no shade. Sam Sam Guai, please, let's step it up a bit. With the next one. In the next edition of this. This is from the Blood Moon, and this is like from. And look at this is from like overhand shuffling right there. You can see the fading there. Look at that right there. Streak right there where you can see where my finger will like with the riffle shuffling. But other than that, the cardstock here, the it's a nice firmness. There's a nice give to it. You feel comfortable shuffling it. I feel comfortable shuffling it, and that it holds up, and that I think it's going to last me a while. I mean, that's all I care for, because these decks are not cheap. Decks are not cheap. $20 that can go to a meal. So your deck better be pretty good and last me a long while. You know. And that isn't to say that like there's anything wrong with those exquisitely made like fine art decks that are more for novelty and aren't designed for shuffling, but like at least offer an alternative for people that actually want to work with the decks. So yeah. But anyways, yeah. So my thoughts on cardstock is I think it's just make it easy to shuffle, make it long lasting. You can feel secure in handling the deck. And you feel confident even riffle shuffling it, and we're good. I was gonna say something, but I just forgot. Oh right, Lisa Papez has a great video on cardstock. She just made everything so clear. I'm like, finally someone said it, and she made great points in there, and I'm like, I agree with her. It doesn't, I'm not like, give me linen cardstock or give me death. I'm like, no. I'm like, at this point I don't care. Like I used to be that person that hates the Llewellyn thin cardstock. Now I'm like, it's like its own thing, and it's holding up pretty well, and yeah, I like it. So yeah, so question number 11. Moving on, bags or boxes? Depends. There's incontinence, and it depends. Okay. So first of all, if it comes in this, you will not see me put this bitch in a bag. You will not see me put this bitch in a bag. No. She has her home. She has her space. It's secure. It's sturdy. It's safe. She's safe in here. She's gonna last a while in this. A bag? I get a little nervous. I'm getting a little, I'm like, ugh. I'm a little nervous. However, it depends. I believe this just came in its own shrink wrap, and that's it, or maybe a white tuck box, and US Games, and Make Playing Cards. I mean, usually does this as like a cheap alternative, and again, it makes it more affordable or whatever. But when I do find a deck that I really like this one, and a deck I know I'm going to keep, and I know I'm going to use, and I think this deserves something, then I get a bag. And when I get a bag, it's going to be a nice one. This is from Baba Studios. And I tend to match the backs or like the whole color palette and the theme to the deck. Like I'm so proud of myself that I found the match for this deck. I'm like, look at that. She ate. But I'm not going to take out a deck from its box that's portable. Portability and saving space matters to me. So to go back to I don't know if I mentioned this, Tarot of the Hidden Realm or the Marielle Tarot, those come in huge boxes. Even now, the new second edition of the Marielle, the box is still pretty bulky because you get a book in there. And I usually take the book and the deck out and I toss the box these days. I used to keep them because I'm a fucking pack rat, but now I'm like, okay, I don't need this box. Let's move it along, And so, yeah, if there are tuck boxes and the tug boxes are getting worn out, I'm like, okay, then we'll put them in some other little bag, and if it's it depends. It depends. But yeah, for saving space, I keep them in bags, and there's like, I have these drawers, weird little drawers back here that I have full of bagged decks, and that's where I keep those there for easy access. So yeah, and for ease of storage. So yeah, that's one of the main focuses there. But again, it's out of just the necessity of like saving space and portability, because I do not feel bags are very secure for my decks. I feel like it can make them easily bent or bowed or damaged while carrying them. That being said, I rarely go out with my decks yet. We'll see. We'll see what life has in store for me, but or what I do with it, with taking my tarot work outside of the online space, because this is where I usually do my tarot stuff. But anyways, moving on. How did you learn tarot or get into it? Really, I feel like this should be a number one. I feel like this should be the first question. But first, I believe it was, I've talked about this in the past. I first used the Mahjong Oracle, and I don't know who published it. They should reprint it. I would like, or maybe I'll make. I've thrown this idea around getting my own set of Mahjong cards, maybe from Make Playing Cards and something, something like that, and make my own deck like that for myself, using like public domain art, whatever. We'll see. But anyways, that's tangent. I want to make my own deck. Tangent. Let's bring it back. So how I learned it. I learned it with, I mentioned this before, Marielle. This is how I learned tarot. I at first bought the first tarot book I bought and kind of read through, and was like, okay, was Holistic Tarot by Benabal Wen. Great book, still, like, easy to read and easy to understand. But what I really learned with was Marielle, studying that, breaking it down, and learning the numbers of it all, and the everything that goes with it. And even back then, like, a lot of the stuff went over my head. And also watching Tarot Oracle, watching his videos, and learning from his stuff, and just seeing other book recommendations as well from other channels. But his really was the one where I was like, okay, this is how you can learn the tarot. His channel is very good for that, as well as I don't know who else. That's the only real one I can think of that I was like, yeah, yeah. But yeah, and I learned from books. I didn't have a mentor or a tutor. I was definitely self-taught, and at times I wish I had a tutor or a mentor, but that was just probably me looking back and being like, I want more social connections. And this is, which is why I kind of started my YouTube channel, to kind of put my thoughts out there and reach out to people and see who would respond and come back, and see what friendships I could make. And I guess we're back at it with this tag. Anyways, so yeah, that's how I learned it. How I got into it, that was, again, I was always interested in playing cards. I collected playing cards, and then I found a Mahjong card deck. I liked the pictures on it, and somehow my brain kind of thought of tarot. Something made me look more into tarot. I can't remember what exactly it was. Might have been in a book, might have been from references to something, but I was like, I think it was because I was always liking the court cards in playing cards, and I wanted to see more card decks with pictures on all the cards. And they're like, oh, the tarot does that. And I'm like, oh. It's not just, oh, So yeah, but again, mostly through YouTube is how I got into tarot, and collecting tarot, and then learning tarot, and now using tarot. So yeah, let's see. Best news in tarot world you've heard lately. Maybe that Rachel Pollack's Shining Tribe tarot is getting reprinted, and that's about it. But but also quite devastating though. You know, her passing, very sad news. That was last year. You know, that's very, very sad that we lost a titan in tarot like her. But there's plenty more. There's I don't know. I haven't kept up with tarot news. I haven't seen much else. Anything poppin' or anything. Nothing big. Nothing exciting. And I think maybe that's because my excitement about tarot has shifted away from how it was before, where I was like just like obsessively infatuated with tarot and everything to do with it. And now it's kind of toned down. And now it's like, okay, let's actually get to the work with it. I think I'm looking for more practical workings with the tarot, ways to read it, ways to actually do readings, rather than here's the meanings again, here's here's a new deck that came out, and I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, that's cute, but let's put it to work now. I'm more focusing on that. And so in terms of news, I haven't kept up with it though. I haven't kept up with any news updates on tarot in the tarot world. Let's see. How many decks are in your to get list? I love this because it's not like a wish list. Because a wish list I think is more like, I'd like to have that. I'll put it on it. Like, but some of these decks, some of the decks on the wish list are kind of tricky to find and hard to get. And you're like, if it happens, it happens. If not, oh well, you know. But the to get list, I'd probably say around, I'm going to put the number between 10 to 20. If I'm being honest, if I'm being generous, it's probably way more than that. But to get like there's not much out there that I'm like, okay, that I'm like, that I want. Oh. Sorry, I'm yawning. There's not much out there that I'm like, that I'm going to get, that I want to get. I think like, just to name off a few, Tarot of the Golden Serpent, finally out in full 78 cards, and then Witch Sister Tarot, that one interests me as well, that I would like to get. And then I can't remember what it's called. It's a bee themed deck. It's the artist is the person that made this. Nadia Turner is the artist. She made the Forest Fae little oracle deck. I love this deck and I love the images on here. And so when I heard that she was making a tarot, I was like, yes, finally, And it's bee themed. It's like, yeah, so in a way. And so I'm like, okay, yeah. Those are at the top. Maybe the Odyssean Tarot and the Gnostic Tarot by, oh my gosh, I can't remember their names. But they made the Shakespearean Tarot and the Charles Dickens Tarot. But those two I really want, the Odyssean and the Gnostic Tarot that they made, that he made. Welkin, I believe, is the production company, or is the artist name. What else? I can't think of anything else. I can't think of any other decks. Those are the first that come to mind. There's anything else? Oh right, there's the let me see. Let me find the name from. It's from U.S. Games. I paused the video there. let me look this up real quick. The Ehrenberg Tarot. That's what it's called. That one looks interesting. Kind of like how Hidden Realms is like very like portrait like, but these are even more zoomed in. There's not, there's very little like background space. It's a lot of up close-ups of drawings of the tarot cards. I'm like, it intrigues me. I want it. And I'm not sure what else. Yeah, nothing else comes to mind. Those are on the tippity top of the to get for sure. Like to get, like I will put money to those for sure. So yeah, if you could keep 3 decks, which ones would you choose and why? My when I first heard of this, I was like, Rider-Waite-Smith, Thoth, and Marielle, and call it a day. Maybe Tarot of the Holy Light and get rid of everything else and just use those as the go-tos. But I was like, Yeah, but Rider-Waite-Smith, you can get that anywhere else. You can get that. You can find that, and guess what? A deck you really actually like to use. Even more so, the only thing that keeps you back from it is because it's not in print anymore, and it's hard to find, and it's really expensive, and it's already getting damaged. Is my Tarot of Delphi. I would use as my Rider-Waite-Smith go-to. You know, I'd use the Tarot of Delphi. I would because hell yeah. So it'd be Tarot of Delphi, Thoth, and Marielle. For sure, those would be the three, that would be yeah, yeah. Though I'm like it breaks my heart to like say Majestic Earth. I've been doing readings recently, and I really do like how the Majestic Earth reads. It's just exquisite, but unfortunately, there's only space for three, so it's gonna have to be those three. So, anyways, how does tarot influence your everyday? How does for me, not much. I don't really let it influence my life too much, other than like I set time aside to do live readings now, and I pull a card every day, and that's the most that I do. And how it influences me, it's more so like when I watch something or I'm witnessing something, like it'll just trigger a tarot image in my head, and that'll be the extent of it. I'll be like, oh my god, that's so whatever card coded, you know. Like I saw a lot of tarot references in the Pixar movie Luca, and you know those little gay mermaids. They know what's up. They know what's up with the tarot. So yeah. What else? And also, well, no, it's kind of now influenced me to be more like in the occult brain mode, like just from reading other stuff outside of tarot, but it's still occult, magical, all in that vein, esoteric. And I start to view ideas and philosophies from that in the in a perspective. I put a lot of things into that perspective now, and it comes to mind. Another Pixar movie, what was it, Soul, that goes into that a bit as well. I believe that's just from my experience. So yeah, moving on. Number 17. If you could turn back time, would you learn tarot any other way? No. No, I love how I learned it with the Marielle, because I feel like I would have definitely been the person that if I learned the Rider-Waite-Smith just straight off immediately, I would have like, I feel like I would have boxed myself in to this, or the Thoth. I would have boxed myself into that, like, this is the correct way, and anything that's a deviation is wrong, you know. And with the Marielle, for me, that like it just kept me flexible and open to like what tarot can be. Like I like, and now there's decks coming out or have come out in the recent past. I have yet to see any more, but like the Ocean Dry, I always go back to the Ocean Dry, and like if you were to show that to anyone like 10 years ago, you know, or 20 years ago, they'd be like, well, what the hell is that? That's an oracle. And I'm like, that's an oracle. No, it's a tarot. 78 cards, has major arcana, 4 suits, all that, you know. It pushes the boundaries of that, and I think the Marielle helped me keep those boundaries open and to keep them expanding. Cosmovisions. I don't like that deck. I thought I would love it and I would work with it. At the moment, I'm in a like a I don't like you relationship with that deck. That one is very like is the thing is that here's what I don't like about it is because I thought I was getting something like Ocean Dry, like the Ocean Dry tarot with that, because I'm like, oh, these are totally different, and yet reading through the guidebook, I'm like, oh, so it's just the magician. Number one is still magician meaning. So how am I going to read this image? So why'd you depict it differently? That was like my critique. I'm like, let's bring it back and let's make my own meanings for it and ignore the guidebook. That's the only time where I say ignore the guidebook for the Cosmovisions. um, but yeah, no, I wouldn't learn any other way. Marielle is what I would start off with, and I would go for it. And yeah, yeah. And I'm still learning. And I'm yeah. Anyways, what are your thoughts on the Three of Swords? I love the Three of Swords. You know, I think it's a deck that it's a card that really again, like I said in the previous questions, it offers a good challenge for artists. Are you just gonna do the sword stabbing, three swords stabbing a heart with rain clouds in the background, or what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do that's different, that still shows that mental, internal anguish, but is going to show it in a unique way to where you are, where it isn't always doom and gloom, without softening it to something or nice washing it to something else. You know, if you can do that, fantastic. You know, I can't think of any cards that do that at the moment, but I'm sure there's some out there. Yeah, I think my tarot godmother, Natalia, Tarot Shrink. I'm not sure if these videos are still up. I believe the VRs are up at least. She did a tag where people could input their input on the Three of Swords, and how they view it and what the Three of Swords means to us, to each of us, and that tag fantastic. I highly recommend if anyone that has made it this far into this video is looking for anything on that, looking for anything on information on the Three of Swords and discussion on that, I would highly recommend those videos. I will try and link them in the description down below, but if I don't, I got lazy or I forgot, you know. And so yeah, that's the Three of Swords. I think it's a great card. I think it's an important card. It's not easy to get in a reading, but it's one that for the main point is it's difficult truths, and you know, hard places that you just gotta push through, and you gotta, you know, that is like, again, I call it the ending of Gone Girl. You know, there's no winning. All you can do is like make the best of the loss that you just took, you know. And again, if you've seen Gone Girl, you know what I mean. So yeah, number 19. How many decks do you have right now? Definitely well over 100, maybe over 200. I have not counted, but for sure more than 100. I know that is a fact. More than 100 if we're counting tarot and oracle together. It's yeah. And how many do I use? Like only like the 10, 12 that are in front of me on my desk right now. Uh, but I'm like, you know what? But there's times where I just like, I'll be like, you know what? This is the right deck for this. But again, it's far and few between. I have my go-tos. I will eventually, again, sorry for the yawning. I will eventually go through all those, get rid of them, move them along. You may see some for sale, but again, there's just the decks that are in those shelves. I don't think I'll get rid of those. I don't think I'll let go of those. There are others that I'm like, there are a few. A majority of those are staying. You can't get rid of them. So yeah. Okay, so question 20. If you could befriend one person on TarotTube / in the tarot world, who'd it be? Who would it be? Who would it be? I'm very shy. So so making friends is very is awkward for me. It has to really happen natural. Like I'm not one to be like, I'm gonna try and make friends. Even though like I literally made the YouTube channel to try and be like, I need to meet people. That's the thing. Connect and meet with people is the thing. Make friends is like the secondary of that. That like has to happen naturally, you know, and I can't force it. But people, so like to say this really puts me in like a awkward position because I'm like, wait, no, wait. It would be, but for sure, uh, oh gosh, who is it? Sylvan's Deadly Sins. I think that's his channel name. Sylvain, I think is his name. I like his channel. Scholarbot. I'd like to be her friend. She seems cool. I love her videos. I'd love to have some discussions with her. Let's see, who is it? Oh gosh, her name isn't Rose Terra. It's like Sacred Rose Terra. No, let me see. Girl, she pops up on my live streams every now and then, and I've done a live stream with her in the past. We've done readings together in the live stream before. I'd like to get back to that. It's more so getting back and reconnecting with tarot peeps now that I'm back online. Like again, my tarot godmother, tarot shrink. You know, I'd love to do some collaboration with her. Um, who else? This is more like collabs, but like in terms of like outside of YouTube though, to take it outside of that, there's definitely like I'd say for sure, uh, Sylvain, uh, and Scholar Ball. I can't remember her name. And Tangi Tarot is another one. Tangi? Is it Tangi or is it Tangi? It's Tangi. Tangi someone else. Tangi. Tangi Tarot. Tangy. Tarot. I saw a few of her videos recently and she, yeah, yeah. I love her. I love her content. Okay, yeah, I was like, is that? No, okay. People driving by my house. I'm like, is that for us? So yeah, last question. What is your favorite part of the day to do tarot? At night, when or I try to do it in the morning. Because I do my daily card draws, in the morning just to see the day ahead, and but sometimes it just ends up being at night. I usually just have the time or the focus to do it at night. At night is when I go like I'm ready to do stuff. I'm gonna do stuff. I'm ready to change the world. You know, but I'm like but I also need to go to sleep, and then I'm like it's 1 a.m. and I'm going to sleep. um, but that's why also I chose to do my live streams at 3 now that I have a lot of free time. I always had a lot of free time, just things kind of I'm not going to share that on things I'm not going to share on here. Why I was offline, even though I had plenty of time to start just going live again and doing it. It's just, again, have to want to do it. And right now, I want to do it. That's the majority. That's the main reason why there. So yeah, during the day I try to do it, and yeah, as I work with tarot more, hopefully I'll have a better response to this question. But for the most part, whenever I can get some back and forth, but also I think at night also helps where I can, for especially for myself, I think at night is where I can wind down, clear off everything, and be like, okay, let me take some time and do a reading. And usually when I do a tarot reading, I'll also like do an I Ching. I'll do I'll use the yarrow sticks, and that takes a lot of time. Uh, Compared to like the 3 coins, I'll take my time with it, and the yarrow sticks helps me digest the question better, I feel, and let it ruminate and tumble in my mind a little bit more than with like a tarot, because I feel like with tarot the shuffling is like, okay, get on with it now, like let's go, you know. So yeah, there you go. That has been the Let's Be Tarot Friends VR slash reintroduction in a way, for me on into TarotTube. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all in the next live stream. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and yeah, and check out the tag for all the other channels and all the other videos that people did to this tag. So yeah, I don't know what else to say other than bye.